More on this story, we can go across France 24's Dave Keating standing by in Brussels. Dave, how are other EU leaders likely to react to what is turning out to be this Franco-German proposal?
Well, so far there's been a very mixed reaction to this. A lot of EU leaders are very angry at this proposal for two reasons. One, several feel that it's presumptuous for the leaders of France and Germany to think that they could meet with Putin and speak for all of the EU. They think that is a role, if this meeting were to happen, it would be more appropriate for the presidents of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen and Charles Michel, to meet with President Putin. But a lot of those countries don't think this meeting should happen at all, particularly the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland. We had Estonia's prime minister coming in to the summit building just behind me just a few minutes ago, really saying she wants to hear from France and Germany what exactly has changed in terms of Russia's behavior to warrant this kind of suggested softening of ties or an opening of dialogue. We also had the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, entering just a few moments ago, saying that if Merkel and Macron want to meet with Putin, he won't object, but he himself would never meet with Putin. Asked why, he said one word: MH17. That's the Dutch airliner that was downed, or airliner carrying Dutch passengers that was downed over Ukraine by Russian separatists in the eastern region of Ukraine. So there's a lot of emotions about this. When this comes up at today's summit, I think there will be a lot of pushback, and Merkel and Macron will have to explain, just as Kaja Kallas, the Prime Minister of Estonia, asked, why they think Russia deserves this kind of opening of dialogue.
Now, Dave, a recent law out of Hungary is also said to be part of the discussions tonight. Here's Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban speaking on the legislation. Take a listen.
I'm a freedom fighter. In the communist regime, homosexuality was punished, and I fought for their freedom and their rights. So I am defending the rights of the homosexual guys. But this law is not about that. It's about the right of the kids and the parents, you know. It's not about homosexuals. The law is about that, to decide what kind of way the parents would like sexually educate the kids, exclusively belonging to the parents.
Okay, so there, Dave, you just heard from Hungary's Prime Minister saying he is an advocate for gay rights, if you will. How are we expecting discussions with him to go, considering just yesterday Ursula von der Leyen called this legislation out of Hungary a disgrace?
Yeah, this is going to be a tense discussion, no doubt. Ironically, even though it's not technically on the agenda as an issue, it's probably the issue that's going to get the most attention today, because it will be brought up at tonight's dinner. Now, on Tuesday, 17 Europe ministers from 17 EU countries signed a letter asking the Commission to take legal action against Hungary to stop this law entering force. The law has already been adopted, but it won't come into force for a while. They want to stop it before it comes into force. This morning, also 17 prime ministers and presidents from EU countries signed a law expressing the same sentiment. Now, the thing is, almost all of those prime ministers who signed that letter are from Western Europe. So there is going to be a big West-East divide on this today. Countries in Eastern Europe did not sign on to this letter, with the exception of the three Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Now, Orban's argument here is that this law is not specifically targeting homosexuality and that it has to do with education. But in fact, lawyers say this law is much broader than that. It would actually prevent, say, a commercial that features a gay couple from being aired before 10 p.m. TV shows depicting a gay couple couldn't air before 10 p.m. That would include episodes of Friends, things like that. And that's why actually the Commission's legal action is using the EU's audiovisual services legislation and its e-commerce legislation to go after Hungary here, saying that this law violates the freedom of advertisers, of media providers to be able to show all content. But Viktor Orban is going to cite a provision in the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the EU, which is the very legal instrument that the ministers asked the Commission to use against Hungary. He's saying there's a provision in there that guarantees religious freedom and the freedom of parents to choose their education for their children in line with religious rights. So that's going to be the big discussion tonight. We'll see if they make any headway. I don't expect a lot of opinions to be changed on this tonight. And so the main thing to watch will be that legal action by the Commission to see if they can stop that law using these 4 different legal justifications that they outlined in a letter yesterday.
We'll see what happens. Thank you very much for that, Dave. Dave Keating reporting.